to be able to talk to you as parents of anxious and nervous learners starting in September here tonight, to be able to try and allay some of your fears. That's really important to us, that you as parents feel very, very reassured about your young person starting at college in September. My name is Lucy Barnwell. I'm Director of Marketing and Learner Recruitment for the group. I'll be hosting tonight's webinar, and I'd like to introduce Nick Dale, who is our Head of Learner Recruitment and Events, Mark Ryan, who is our Vice Principal of Curriculum, and Aimee Wilson, who is a student ambassador, and she is currently doing a level 3 in performing arts, the acting pathway, and loves it here so much, is going on to do a T-level in childcare next year. So welcome everyone, and thank you very much for being on tonight. First of all, Nick, I'll go to you if that's all right. Is it possible you could give our parents of these young learners just a little bit of an overview of what's going to happen over the next few months and the most important things that learners should be bringing with them for enrolment?
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, Lucy. Good evening, everybody. So if your young person has already attended their interview and accepted the place, that's amazing. So now might be a good time to start spending some time preparing to start their course. There's lots of useful information on our website and social media. They might want to get in touch with their course tutor. And I know that some departments are having like uniform days over the summer where students can attend and get all the kit and everything sorted for September. As we move through the summer, we'll move on to enrolment, which is broken down into 2 parts. So the first part is online enrolment, and that will be round about mid-July, and students will be sent instructions to complete their online enrolment at home. It's really quick, really simple, and once students have completed that, they will then come to an in-person event, and that will take place at the end of August, once students have collected their GCSE results from school. It is really important that students bring their qualifications and GCSE results into enrolment, and also some proof of identification as well. If a student cannot complete their online enrolment at home, then they can come on site. We will help them to complete it at one of our in-person events. So please don't worry if you're not able to do it at home, because we can help to support you complete it on campus.
Thank you, fantastic. Appreciate it. I also want to add for everyone who is listening that, sorry, I think it's a bit of a technical glitch there. Thanks, Nick, for that. That's really helpful. Just want to add, we've got some Keep Warm videos going out over our social media over the summer, so you can see some brief tours of the campuses. Also, we will be sending out information about college transport around mid-August time. So if you are looking to place your young person onto the college bus service, then do look out for that around mid-August time, with information on ticket prices and routes as well. So over to Mark now for the next step. Mark, could you just let all the parents on this webinar know what their young person should expect in the first few weeks of college?
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all okay, enjoying this this Thursday night sunshine. So when your child, your young person comes to the RNN Group in the first 4 weeks, there'll be an array of different activities from the enrolment process that Nick just spoke about. So we'll go through an induction process that for next year is going to take the first half term. So it's going to be very thematic through the first 7 weeks. It'll be around well-being, it'll be around things around careers, getting to know their peers, understanding their curriculum, getting to know their campus, what's available for the students to be able to access during their time with us studying at the college. Lots of interaction around where the career staff are, where the support teams are, student services, the student union, the enrichment opportunities, the personal development team, where the curriculum staff live, where their classrooms are going to be, most importantly, where the refectory and the canteen is. So they'll get to understand lots of information about where they're going to be, where they're going to be studying, who they're going to be studying with, and become part of what we call the community, the college community. Staff will support your child, your young person in the transition into the college. It's very much different to school. They'll have a timetable that will be different to what they've experienced over the last 5 years or so, if they're a school leaver. Within their study program, there'll be elements of academic support, there'll be academics of personal development, there'll be elements of vocational learning, very different types of vocational learning. Within their first week, they'll have an understanding of what their induction timetable will look like, but then following that, what their timetable for the rest of the year will look like as well. Lots of activities, lots of engaging activities that your child, young person, will be heavily engaged in becoming part of this community.
Thanks, Mark, very much for that. That sounds like it's going to be an amazing half term full of bits and pieces and really great activities for our learners. So, Aimee, on to you. So this has been Aimee's first year at the college. Aimee, tell all our parents out there, what has college life been like for you over this past year?
I've had a very positive start to my first year because we've done a lot like working in the professional industry because I'm doing performing arts. So the first thing we ever did on the course, which is really shocking, was the Crucible project, where we devised a performance so that we actually performed on the stage of the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. That was really interesting because it was the first like professional thing I've ever done, working in the industry, getting to know how it works. We've worked with a lot of professional theatre companies like the Doncaster Fear Factory, Gulliver's Valley, and there's also, we have to do work experience where I chose to do it in the Rotherham Civic Theatre, but it's meant to be only like 30 something hours. I've done that since November now until present, and I just love it so much.
That is incredible, Aimee. So you get really good real life experiences outside of the classroom as part of your course. Has that been one of the best bits for you?
Yeah, working outside of college and just getting to know what the professional industry is going to be like.
That is fantastic. Oh, wow. I wish I could go back to school myself and college myself, actually. It sounds brilliant. Okay, I have got a few questions that we have been, people have been sending in actually in advance of this webinar as well. And I am keeping an eye out on the chat for any new questions that come in too. So the first question is directed at Nick. Nick, someone has just said that their child has been on a taster this week, which is brilliant, but didn't enjoy the subject. However, the teacher was really, really helpful. We do have some amazing teachers here. What should that young person do next, would you advise?
Okay, so this does happen, and this is the point of the tasters. It's a chance to try before you buy. It's a chance to find out more about that subject, see if it's for you, and get to know the curriculum, the tutor, see the facilities. And we do get learners who think they know what they want to do, but then once they've tried it, they actually think, okay, it's not for me, which is fine. It does happen. And I suppose we'd rather it happen now than in September. So what I would advise is get in touch with us. Yeah, maybe speak to the tutor, because that taster was only a snapshot of what the whole year might look like. So I'd get in touch with the tutor first and have a chat to them. And then we've also got a fantastic careers team as well. So they're welcome to come in, have a chat to them. They can come in and have another tour of our campus and look around the different facilities, see if there's any other courses that they might be interested in, and then take it from there. But I think the most important thing is that they need to tell us, get in touch, and then we can help and support and guide them.
Fantastic, thank you. I have another question for you as well, Nick. So we've just had a parent ask about the fact that their young person has just completed their GCSEs and now is getting around to sorting out applications for next year, which is no bad thing. People decide at different points of the year when what they want to do and how comfortable they are with their next step. So they've done the application. So what would happen next just to allay that parent's fears that it'll all be okay in time for September?
Yeah, so once we receive that application, that will be acknowledged, that will be processed, and then we will book them in for an interview, a curriculum interview with the course tutor. And then once they've attended that interview and hopefully been offered a place, they then move on to the enrolment stage. The interview is nothing to be worried about. It's just a chance to get to know them, really, to get to know the young person, to find out about any support they might require at college, to give them information about the curriculum and the subject and the facilities, and a chance for the young person to interview us as well, really, and make sure that that course is right for them. So yeah, hopefully they will get offered a place, and then it's just a case of waiting for the GCSE results and having a bit of relaxation over the summer. I think we've got to remember that young people they've just had a busy couple of months, and I think they need a bit of time to relax and unwind a little bit. So do that, and then yeah, we'll try and help them and guide them in August, September enrolment.
Nick, that's great advice. It feels like you have a year 11, year 10, year 11 young person yourself. So you're going through this yourself. I
am going through this exact same process at the moment, and he thinks he knows what he wants to do, but he's still a little bit in that decision-making process himself. And I think a lot of young people, they don't really decide what they want to do until maybe they've tried something out. So it's a long career, isn't it? They've got many years ahead of working, so it doesn't always go in a straight line, does it? Career paths can be
ever winding.
Ever winding.
Yeah. And just remember, everyone, that we are available throughout the summer. Just because we're a college, we're not just open during term time. We are here during the summer holidays too. So if you have last-minute concerns or queries, please contact us. There will be someone there to look after you and support you throughout the summer. Even if you want to come in and do another tour of the facilities, or speak to a tutor in the area, or speak to one of Nick's team in learner recruitment, we are here to ensure you feel that you and your young person is totally reassured by the next steps and is totally happy with starting here in college, because that is our #1 priority. All right. Aimee, back to you for this question. The college environment, how is it different from school? I think sometimes it's very hard for parents to sort of get that feeling of difference, and sometimes their children don't always talk to them, or the young people don't always talk to them. So what is the differences that you can let parents know in advance?
I think it's very different, but I think it's different in a good way. I feel like it's a lot more relaxed. You can wear what you want. A lot of the lessons, it's not like your typical English lesson. Teachers aren't lecturing. You actually get up and do practical. There is independent study, but by independent, it is very independent. So I feel like that's a lot better as well. There's a lot more support. There's fewer students, so you get a lot more time with your tutor. Surrounded by like-minded people. That's another thing. You're doing the same thing as people in your course. So
that is great to hear, that learners get more support because of smaller class sizes. That is a huge bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So what's a college day like then, Aimee? Just run through a normal college day for our parents who again would like to know sort of what their young person will be expected or might be doing and getting up to.
I've done like a little routine of my day. I went round and written everything down. So at 8:30, I'd usually arrive, get some breakfast. 9 a.m, the lessons start, usually with my tutor giving a plan for the day. Usually it's a practical lesson in the morning. So like performance, rehearsal, acting exercise, from about 9 a.m. until 12:15. There's lunch, best part of the day, until 1:15. And then usually it's independent study to end the day. So just getting on with some coursework, filming rehearsal videos. And I like to keep a logbook of what I've done in the session, so I usually do that in the afternoon as well.
Aimee, that's absolutely brilliant in terms of what you've just said there, and the feedback that you've just presented and provided. And I think one of the key things here for parents and prospective students coming in is that ownership of learning. So as a college, we expect you in terms of expectations and guide you to ensure that you take ownership of what it is that you're doing, and responsibility of your own learning. Because as Nick alluded to earlier with his son, and I'm sure you were like it yourself, Aimee, and I know I was, is that you don't always kind of know where you're going and what you're doing, but taking ownership of your own learning, your responsibility, developing them really important skills of time management, organisation, meeting deadlines, communicating, preparing yourself for the next step. So all those power skills that we talk about that are going to be beneficial to move into your next steps are really crucial, because as you said, and as Nick said earlier, you don't always kind of follow that path. So it's it's great that you're able to kind of allude to that. And that personal journey and personal development. And what you said something earlier when we were talking about your work experience. How has your work experience benefited you in terms of your next steps, your skills, your confidence, your self-esteem? How has that benefited you, Aimee?
Well, with the job title, Rotherham Civic Theatre as a theatre steward, so I'm constantly talking to people, constantly helping people out, showing people to their seats, and you also get to work with a lot of professional actors in the industry. So I think that was really good for me to learn from people who've been in the industry for a long time and are on a professional level now. So I think that was really good for my work experience. I've been doing it for 6 months now when I was only meant to do 30 hours. So yeah, I really love it.
And again, that's absolutely brilliant in terms of you being able to make a connection, develop your skills, be inspired and motivated by other people within that space. Thank you for that, Aimee. From my perspective, working and sort of being responsible for the curriculum at the college, one thing that we do and that we constantly plan for and we constantly review is we work with employers. We look at our local market intelligence. We look at what occupations look like. We're analysing the market for future careers. So we don't just look for 24, 25. Is we're looking at what does 2030 look like, and what are the occupations, and what are the skills gaps, and how can we create career paths. So within my role, it's really important that we work with employers, that we work with your work experience provider to ensure that what we're doing and how we're developing our skills is really embraced. It's embedded within how we structure and sequence our curriculum. The delivery methods is relevant and purposeful and pertinent to what it's like in industry. And I know, Aimee, you said there when within your day, it's about going in and you're looking at rehearsals, you're looking at your practical. So in terms of your day and in terms of how you're assessed, how are you assessed within your program of study, your study program?
We're mainly assessed on practical lessons. Everything is videoed, everything is filmed to send off to the exam board. That's the main way of being assessed. There's also obviously coursework involved with that, but the main part is the practical. And I think that's amazing because I know a lot of colleges don't offer that.
So okay, that's perfect. So there's you're being assessed in what the sector and industry looks like. That's brilliant. And you mentioned something earlier or just before of you also do coursework. What types of coursework do you do? Is it really varied? Is it different?
It really varies, but mainly it's just evaluating what you've done in a session and what you've done in a performance. It's basically about your own progress, just keeping a track and a log of what you've been doing.
So just to reflect then, you're developing your English skills in terms of communication, you're developing your English skills through kind of writing, evaluating, self-reflection. You're also acquiring sort of really important skills that no matter where you deliver and you end up, you're going to be looking at reflection, communication, being able to write, being able to articulate yourself, being able to work as a team, but also work as an individual. And all those things are so super important in terms of you and your next step and your progression. So in terms of the assessment, and that's a perfect example, colleagues, of how we support our students and how our students undertake real life professional assessments that link in, that navigate into a career that your child or your young person is really interested in right now. And that's coupled with, as I mentioned something earlier about sequencing and structuring the curriculum and utilising technology to advance teaching and learning and bringing the classroom to life through innovation and creation. That again is linked to the kind of the career aspiration that they may have at the time. One of the other things that we do within the curriculum, we embrace guest speakers. We have trips and visits. Aimee's mentioned 4 times about the work experience, work placement to again add value and richness to the program of studying and next steps and progress. And one thing that we've been really pushing and driving, and we're going to continue to do so, is competition in college. Competition outside of college, so we're competing with the college, but also then nationally in world skills, and it's through a plethora of different curriculum areas from hair, beauty, media, makeup, construction, so bricklaying, plastering, from catering. It's so wide and diverse in the competitions and the opportunities that we're presenting and providing our students. Welcome back, Lucy. A slight technical glitch there.
Indeed, so but I'm here now. Thank you.
We've moved into the space of what curriculum would look like. We've had a discussion with Aimee around her journey so far as well. So if you want me to kind of continue in terms of a bit more around the curriculum, or is any other further questions that's
yeah, so it's really about how. It's really about what if a child what if someone has just emailed to say what if my young person's grades aren't as expected, and that is during, not before obviously enrolling, but actually during the year. How will that be? How will a learner be looked after to help and be supported if they're not achieving the level that they should be achieving? Mark, over to you.
So every year, and I've worked in education for circa 20 years, and every year that I've been in this space, we've had students that were expecting to get 5 4s and above, or in old money, C's and above. And every year we've had students come in and say, I've not got my English, I've not got my maths, I've got 3s, or I've got D's, or 3s in new money. And they panic and they think it's all over, and they don't think there's an alternative. Well, actually there is, because as Nick said earlier, when it comes to the enrolment and you've acquired your GCSEs, we can sit, we can discuss, we can go through some careers, education, information, advice and guidance about, well, what is it that you want? Where do you want to be? And from that information, assessing your interests, your excitements, your passion, and your current position, we can present you with a study program that will fit that. And it might take you 3 years to get there, and it might mean that you have to do a resit in English or a resit in maths, or both. That's absolutely fine, and we cater for that and we support that. And our English and maths team deliver very, very differently to perhaps how you've experienced it in school, and how it's delivered compared to how it is in school. From utilising technology, from using learning carousels, it's vocational learning that surrounds numeracy or English, that where you can apply it to your own learning through your own lens, and how you see that through into your own career. So again, just to sort of summarize, if you don't get what you expected, come to your enrolment slot, you have a conversation with the curriculum team. We've got a careers team on hand, we've got a student support team on hand that can support, advise, love and guide you into where it is that you need to be.
That is fantastic, really supportive actually. I think parents need to know that, so thank you. It's important for some parents who've emailed us questions about support in terms of the same at school. This could be maybe to do with additional learning support or any kind of support. How is that the same or different from school? What would a student expect to be looking at support-wise at college if they need that extra help and support? Mark, to you, if that's all right.
So upon applying to the college and coming for interview, Any further needs or additional needs will be discussed with your tutor and can be shared. We have a team of an additional learning support team where that information can be transferred to, and then the support implemented if it's appropriate. If it's required, we can go through further assessments as well to support your child. If your child has an education, health and care plan, there'll be a quiet enrolment slot which you'll be invited into to have a discussion about your targets, the plan for your child, for your young person, and within the curriculum, if the additional learning support is required, your child, your young person will be allocated support where that may be, whether it's for reading, it's for scribing, it's support for extra time, it's to help reflect upon sort of teaching activities that might have taken place, assessment time, if there's any requirement for concessions for exams, so that I've just made reference to extra time for a scribe, for a reader, for a small room, a standard classroom, that will be available upon receipt and support of the ALS support conditions. So everything is here to help and support your child, and we've got a fantastic team on hand to support and do everything we possibly can to engage and ensure that your child, your young person, has a really, really successful journey here within the college.
That is amazing, Mark. Thank you. I think that's really reassuring. Aimee, just quickly over to you from the student perspective. Do you feel you've had the support and the encouragement that you've needed over the last year from all members of the college? Has it been? I think what parents really worry about is, and I think our young people do, is those first few days and fitting in and feeling part of it. And those are the bit that's the most daunting, that very first bit when you don't know anybody. So how did you feel in terms of fitting in? How did you feel that the college supported you with those first sort of few days and then weeks?
It was definitely our tutors that we have on the course. They made us feel really like welcome, and by the end of the day I felt like I knew everyone. Our tutors made us work with different people, so basically, like in practical lessons, we'd work with someone new every like 10 minutes or something, and that's basically how we got to know everyone.
That sounds amazing. I think this is the crucial thing, is the daunt. I don't know whether Nick or Mark, you want to add anything in terms of that sort of feeling of reassurance and support. I know Nick's team are, for instance, all around throughout September and available to support, aren't you? As is obviously Mark and the curriculum. So I don't know whether Nick, you wanted to add anything there in terms of the support available.
Yeah, and like Aimee's just mentioned, that getting to know you is really important. So the tasters that we've done this week, hopefully the young people that have attended will know at least one other person on their course that will be starting in September. And by attending those this week, we know that students have been nervous, but we'd rather them be nervous now than in September. But we will do our best to make them feel welcome. Like Aimee says, that first week is all about getting to know your peers, getting to navigate college, find out, college is completely different to school, and find out where everything is. And yeah, and if anybody is a little bit nervous or anxious and they want to pay us a visit over the summer, like you've mentioned, we're always open, and they can come in and just have lunch or have another tour, anything at all. Just get in touch, and we can look at putting something in place.
Thank you, Mark. Do you want to add anything at this point?
Yeah, I will, and I'll just piggyback on something that Aimee said really early on. Aimee spoke about like-minded people and what I'd refer to as emotional currency. So you're going to be studying and you're going to be in the same environment of people that have got the same interest as what you have. So that's the first thing that your child, your young person is going to have. They're going to be going into a space where they've got the same interest, whether it's construction, it's hair, it's beauty, it's performing arts, it's music, it's business, it's aviation, all the multiple different opportunities and curriculums that we offer. Your child, your young person will go into that space where people have the same passions and interests. So that's where the first link will come. And as Amy's just alluded to there, within hours they'll be friends, and no doubt in years they'll be still on the same friendship channel.
Fab. A parent has just actually asked, how do parents get communicated to? How do parents get to be informed of what's going on and support their young person's progress and achievements? Mark, that's directed for you, if that's okay.
Yeah. So we have parents' evenings where our parents are invited in to discuss the progress of their child, of their young person. Reports are available and sent to support what is in terms of their achievements, their progression. We have in the first week, induction week, we talk about expectations, and we invite parents in to discuss expectations and how you can support your child to be successful within post 16 education. We have old UCAS events as an example, so that again, what your child will be going through, young person will be going through in terms of next steps to potentially progress into university. There's an opportunity for you to contact the personal tutor or the course team leader to have a conversation about how your child or young person is progressing. So it's very, very much an open dialogue of your progression of your child or your young person.
Thanks, Mark. That's great. Just for all parents to know as well, week commencing the 16th of September, we are having parent briefings at North Notts College on the Tuesday that week. That's Tuesday the 17th, Rotherham College on the Wednesday the 18th, and on Thursday at Dearne Valley College. That will be a chance for you to hear about how you can support your young person, what we are asking them and our expectations of them, as well as talk to the directors of campus and tutors about any concerns you have. So that is your chance, parents and carers, to come on in during that week and speak to our staff and also feedback what your young person's feeling throughout the first few weeks. That's a great time. If they feel unable to do that, you can be their mouthpiece if necessary that week and in those parents' briefings too. So again, that's week commencing the 16th of September. You will be getting notification of those, so you can come on in and come on in and just talk with us. It's really important that you are reassured, just as your young people need to be reassured too. All right. So, Mark, another quick question. How come my this is from the son is only in a few days a week when it's a full-time course? That's what one parent has asked.
I alluded to earlier that college differs to school. We expect our students to be in anything between 15 and 18 hours a week. There is an expectation, and Aimee alluded to it earlier very eloquently, that she stays and she'll reflect, she'll do assessments, she'll create a learning journal, practical journal, a skill journal of how she's developing. So there's an expectation that students will work outside of the classroom, outside the workshop, outside the salon, outside the kitchen to develop their skills. They'll be out on work experience, work placement. But we also understand that as a student who's moving out of school into college and need to sort of work and operate as well and support themselves. So on average, a student will be in 15 to 18 hours a week. We'd expect them to work an extra 10 hours outside of the classroom, at least to ensure that they progress effectively upon skills, knowledge and behaviours around their subject area. Because one of the things that we also talk about is embracing social and cultural opportunity. We ask them to embrace and develop their skills outside of their classroom, their workshop, their salon, their kitchen. So that's how it differs. And I think Aimee might be able to maybe give us a bit of an insight from a student perspective.
Great idea. Aimee, over to you.
So I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so it's about, some parent has asked, my son or daughter is going to be only in for a few days a week when it's a full-time course. So, what they are, because it's a very different thing between school, where you're there Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 3:30, learning enrichment. So how do you as a student ensure you're making the most of your time and fulfilling that time that you're here? So it's not just in your lessons. What else are you doing to ensure you are developing your learning journey?
Yeah, like Mark mentioned, it is for time for independent study, and I think that's really important that we have that time that isn't in college, because the 15 to 18 hours a week will be just for practical and for developing your skills and for everything like that, and the rest of the week independent study. And yeah.
That's great, Aimee. Thank you very much for that. I have come to the end of my questions, apart from one question I did want to ask you, if that's all right, Mark, quickly. A parent did mention it to me earlier this week at Rotherham College. They were just asking the difference between T-levels and the usual the courses that we offer. T-levels are huge at the moment. Would it be just possible, just a quick summary of the difference between T-levels, A-levels and a level 3 course, just to give our listeners a chance to hear a little bit more, if that's all right?
Absolutely. A T-level is a full-time study program. It's over 2 years. It's a different way of learning. It's the same value of 3 A-levels, if you like. The students will undertake for at least 415 hours worth of work experience over the 2 years. So it's a bit like a reverse apprenticeship. So they'll be in college for 3.5 days. They'll be out of college for several days over the year, which equate to minimum 415. It's very much relevant to occupations. So the T-levels have been designed by employers that are relevant to them occupations. We work closely with employers. So we have employers that pledge to take our students on placement so that they can fulfill their need and their curriculum of a T-level. They're assessed using employer-based projects. They'll have an exam, but unlike a level 3 program, let's say, where they'll do unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, a T-level is very much intertwined, and one thing dovetails into another. There's lots of formative assessment that takes place in preparation for an exam, or in preparation for an employer set project, or in preparation for presentation, all of which is supported by their placement. A-levels is very different to that in terms of this one's academic. They'll have to pick 3 subjects, and they'll work towards exams towards year 2. Very much academic based, so focused in a classroom. Yes, there'll be aspects of some trips and some visits to enrich their learning, but it's all exam based, exam focused, working towards them final grades of your A-level. And vocational learning, your level 3 is very much unit based. So on an extended diploma in level 3, you potentially do anything between 6 and 8 units in year 1, and similarly in year 2, all credit weighted. The students will undertake various different outcomes per unit. They'll do different types of assessments. There'll be different types of teaching and learning strategies that take place to support learning, to support recapitulation of learning, metacognition, so that they can utilize that knowledge in future, and they can apply that knowledge in the future. So the 3 different and the 3 contrasting ways of learning. And as an organisation, we're moving with the government plan of transitioning into technical qualifications, T-levels, that's been written, designed by employers, supported by the government, to ensure that we're providing and developing a workforce for the future to fill the skills gaps that's been identified across the country.
Fantastic, thank you. And for those who would like a bit more information on T-levels, we are running a T-level webinar on the 9th of July from 6:30 again, with a focus for Durham Valley College if you're interested in animal health, but we will be answering wider questions on T-levels as well during that webinar. We're coming to the end of this webinar. Presenters, thank you very, very much. I'm just going to ask you one quick question each. So first of all, Aimee, what advice would you give a new learner starting at college in September?
Just try not to be nervous and just jump straight into it. Get to know people, talk to people, do your best.
Nick, what advice would you have for a new learner starting with us here at the RNN Group?
If you are unsure of anything or you change your mind about the course, let us know. It's really important that you speak to us. Tell us straight away if there's any issues. If you don't tell us something, then we cannot help you. So please, please, please be open and honest and let us know if there's anything that is worrying or bothering you, or you'd like to change your mind. Let us know.
Thanks, Nick. And Mark. Mark, you're on mute.
We're here to support, advise, and guide, just as Lucy done there, you in your journey. This is part of your career journey, your next steps. If Nick's alluded to anything that you're unsure of, please ask any member of staff. We're here to support you and ensure that you are on the right path, the right journey. It's been alluded to many times. That path might need rerouting. You might have to recalculate your sat nav to get where you want to be. But finally, work hard, enjoy yourself, and smile.
Fantastic. That is great advice from our presenters. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you all for listening in and tuning in. Thank you for your amazing questions. They've been brilliant. I hope this is a recorded webinar, so we'll be putting this out tomorrow so we other parents can find out the knowledge too about that reassuring start in September. Thank you to Mark, Nick and Aimee for your time. It's been fantastic, really, really helpful. And just remains for me to thank you all and have a wonderful evening and summer holidays. Thank you all then. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.